the spawn meets world, spawn meets world. When the spawn meets world.
What up, bros?
What up, bros?
And welcome to Bruh Meets World.
When it's Bro Meets World.
Your Boy Meets World fan cast. This is episode 69. I'm Siege.
And I'm your boy, Tony Coitus.
And this is our season 3 report card.
Yo, this is just the best place to be right now. Just fresh off of season 3, going into season 4. You know, this is, as we're going to get into, a season that I think we enjoyed far more than the second season. So I'm just excited to talk about it with you.
I was surprised at how much more this episode did better than season 2. But then again, not really, because I looked at it and season 2 actually went lower than season 1. So right now it goes season 3, season 1, season 2 in like order of how we like seasons.
I feel like that's accurate. I feel like I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, which is very, very, I mean, like, also a lot of shows have that sophomore slump, so.
I just think that there are characters that as we weed them out, I'm able to care for the main characters better. Anyways, let's get into our honor roll section.
Yeah, let's honor roll. So these are our highlights of the season so far, and we're going to start with best episode. And TC, I know that you can see my notes, but we actually had a tie for our best episode. Like, we rated the highest. Do you know which those two are?
I mean, I am cheating because I can see your notes, but Truth and Consequences and The Grass is Always Greener, probably two of the most consequential episodes of the season.
Exactly. I was going to say, if you had to pick between the two, because those are two very good episodes, I mean, which is why we rated them so high. But if you had to choose between the two, which one would you rate as the winner?
Probably Truth and Consequences.
Really? That's so funny, because I was going to go Grass is Greener.
I know, The Grass is Greener is great too, but honestly, neither of them are my favorite episodes.
Ooh, what's your favorite episode of the season, then?
I don't know. I guess when I was thinking of like episodes, I was going through the season and I was thinking about what episodes kind of live beyond just season 3 of Boy Meets World for me. Like, what episodes am I going to think back to? And 2 came up for me, which were season 3 episode, I think it's episode 3, What I Meant to Say.
Okay.
So What I Meant to Say has the moment where Corey says that he loves Topanga for the first time, and I just think that's a really important episode.
I remember you did rate that one really high, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I really liked it. It's one of those episodes that I think about when I think about this show. The other one I had up there as one of my favorite episodes of the season was Life Lessons. The one where Feeney gives the test schedule that's really hard, and there's like kids that like are like mutinying the school, and Corey and Sean and Topanga really have to be the moral high ground, and I just thought that was a really well done episode, and one that I will remember long after the season's over, because it establishes Feeney's relationship with the kids, I think, in a really great way.
You know, I'm like, The Grass is Always Greener is just a good and iconic episode for me. I mean, we get comedy with the French, we get people role playing, you know, like there's this, and
I'm sorry, for our listeners, could you remind them a general synopsis of The Grass is Always Greener, like what that episode is for the people who may have forgotten?
Season 3, episode 12 is when Corey and Topanga are kind of feeling like they're in a rut. So they both tell each other that they have plans and go to the same school dance at another school pretending to be other people. Corey is pretending to be Sean, and Topanga is pretending to be another French girl. And it's the episode where they break up, but it's so real and it's so relevant to like any age group, I feel.
Absolutely. And that was one of the things I remember that we really dug about that episode specifically, was just this maturity that Cory and Topanga's relationship had versus some other teen 90s shows that we had seen. Them getting to a point in their relationship where they're like, hey, there's nothing, like, you're great, I love you, but there's something up here, and I think we need to split up for our own personal happiness and to preserve our friendship. A super mature way of handling a very complicated situation. I think Cory has a great line in that episode where he says, or maybe it's Topanga, people who end up hating each other are the people who wait too long to break up. Just great fucking stuff.
Absolutely.
In that episode, bro.
Absolutely. How could you not love that? That it was amazing to me. Okay, and then our fan favorite. So we usually do our fan favorite as like the most downloaded episode or highly rated episode. And I was surprised by this. Season 3, episode 8, Rave On.
You know why? Because people like the
It's by
fucking
our most popular
monkeys.
episode. And
It's great. The monkeys reunite. Everyone's into it. I'm telling you, this is an amazing. It's not just me who loves this episode. Like, it's just a fan
it is not
favorite
just you.
in general.
But I will say, Rave On is our most popular episode, but it was not rated high. So that tells me that everyone came to share in their lack of love for this episode, despite their monkey love.
It's an episode that it shouldn't be good, and it's not good on paper. But there's something about it that, to me, is quite memorable at the very least.
And the one that was rated the highest and listened to was I Never Sang for My Guardian, which, you know me, I am a huge fan of.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that I Never Sang for My Teenage Guardian was such a huge hit, just because I feel like anytime we see Chet and Sean in an episode, or really Sean's storyline highlighted in an episode this season, it's ended up being one of my favorite episodes, which kind of leads me to our next category for superlatives, which is favorite character. And I'm gonna tell you this. Mine is a tie. And mine is a tie between Sean and Chet both. The reason why is because we get so little of Chet that I don't feel like he can get the full award alone. But every time he enters the screen, I'm smiling from ear to ear. I'm loving everything I'm seeing with him. But more so, the way he adds dimension to Sean's storyline, I think, is the biggest contribution to him this season.
Okay, so I love that you said that. I'm going to go with Chet as favorite character because of our next category.
And I wonder if it's that thing that we get so little of him. When he's more of a season regular next season, I'm wondering if we're going to enjoy him as much, if we're going to tire of him. I think it's easy to say that he's lovable when he only pops up in every episode. So that'll be interesting to find out in the next season.
I think what you're saying is that we love Chet the same reason that Sean loves Chet. We don't get to see him enough, so we miss him. And every time he shows up, we're just happy to see him.
And much like Sean, next season we are going to have to form a new relationship with Chet, of someone who's not just popping up and giving jokes, but someone who's going to have to provide. And that's going to be really interesting to see.
Ooh, I'm really excited. And as I said, I chose Chet for my favorite character because our next category is most improved character. And that to me is definitely Sean.
Okay, explain why.
Okay, yeah. So for me, I think not only do we get a lot more Sean this season, but the fact that we see Sean venture out in terms of dating and wanting to date and not be a womanizer. He gets a girlfriend this season. He bonds with Turner in a different way this season. He speaks up for himself this season. And he actually gets into a quarrel with Cory in a very real way that we haven't gotten in a while. So I really, really enjoy Sean's growth this season more than anyone else's.
Okay, so I do agree that we saw a ton of growth with Sean, and I you know me, he's one of my favorite characters. However, when it comes to most improved, I decided to put down Topanga's name. I thought that Topanga,
Really?
as a character, was someone that we saw so much more range from. She was kind of a reoccurring character last season, if we can remember. Whereas this season,
Yeah.
she really stepped up as a series regular. She got a major storyline this season, and I feel like they did a fantastic job of taking her from that girl that Corey's shy about asking to be his girlfriend in the openings of the season, to at the end of the season, us understanding that they are this just star-crossed lovers that are destined to be together. And I just think they did a really good job with her in this season because of that.
See, and I would love to give it to Topanga, but I felt that we just didn't get enough of her, first of all, for my liking, for me to really think that we gained range. But then also, whenever we did get something of Topanga, I felt like they almost always undermined it. Like, if Topanga had stayed steadfast and, not given into Corey's persistence, and instead had come to the conclusion on her own, or had overheard him talking to a human being, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And not a seal or a dolphin, I believe it was. Yeah, I feel like if that was the case, I would have been like, all right, you know what? They actually kept Topanga's character whole. But instead, I felt like they would always build Topanga up and then knock her down a peg. So that's my own personal opinion, but I agree with you that we definitely see a difference in her from seasons 1 and 2.
And I think we're also forgetting how little female representation we had in the last season, to where, like, her getting storylines is kind of a major improvement in general, just as far as having a female voice.
Going on dates with Andrew Keegan.
I mean, living your dream.
Which, by the way, a fun fact, I was listening to something else, and they were talking about Andrew Keegan because they were talking about 10 Things I Hate About You. And it turns out, do you know he's like a cult leader here in California?
What?
Yeah, there's like it's like a cult that's not a cult.
Dude, that is creepy and hilarious. Wow.
Yeah.
This is true. Wow. I don't know how I feel about this. You know what? It's like you said, he's just been he's been fawned after his entire life, to probably just think that he just has something special to offer the world. I don't know. This is all right.
I love how blown your mind is right now.
Totally. This is more of a shock than Frankie the Enforcer becoming a bodybuilder. Wow. All right. Well, if you're listening and you belong to the Church of Andrew Keegan, I invite you to introduce him to the podcast. Bring him on for a sesh. We'd love to talk to him.
Yeah, it's called Full Circle for those in question. All right. Favorite clips of the season.
Okay, so I have a few favorite moments from the season, and I want to go back to 3 specific moments that stood out to me. So the first one is episode 3, season 1, and it is the episode where Corey is nervous to ask Topanga out for the first time after summer. He knows he likes Topanga. He's kind of dragging his feet. And Sean and Topanga's best friend, played by Brittany Murphy, kind of arrange this circumstance which will force Corey to spill his heart to Topanga. And what he ends up saying to her is this quote that I wrote down, which is, "If I had to come up with the perfect girl, she wouldn't even come close to you. Would you be my girlfriend?" At the time, I thought it was a baller line. I still think it's a baller line. It's something I've actually used in my personal life because I thought it was such a good line. And I just think it was a very romantic way to start the season. So I threw that in there as one of my favorite moments.
Hey, one of mine is, I was going to list as one of my favorite episodes, but Stormy Weather. I just think the tension between Eric and Alan and the after tension of Eric and Feeney when he loses his job and life is tough and all this other stuff. And that Stormy Weather was a highlight for in total, but I think specifically the fight between Alan and Eric is a really good one.
I think that is another highlight episode just because of the growth that we see from Eric and Eric getting a storyline. I just thought that was a really great episode for him to grow in, to see his character evolve. Okay, so another one of my favorite moments. Okay, so this is from an episode called "A Heart is a Lonely Hunter." And this is the episode in which Sean is trying to date Larissa Olenek, who we know as Alex Mack from Nickelodeon. He's trying to date her, but she is just a good girl that doesn't want to be with Sean. And Sean is confused as to why this girl doesn't like him. And he's begging Topanga to just be honest with him about what his reputation is with women. And Topanga goes on to say, "You don't understand women. You don't know what we are, you don't know how we feel, and you don't know what we think. You see us as dating objects, and the faster we are, the more you want us. And until you can grow up and see beyond that, no matter how many girls go out with you, you will always be lonely." And that right there is, I think, one of the reasons why Topanga got the most improved for me, because she really is stepping up and becoming a voice for women on the show in the way that I feel like these characters desperately need insight to how women think and feel. So this was just an amazing moment for me.
Yes, that was a read, and I remember at the time we felt so. Topanga goes in on Sean in that scene, and I literally could listen to it over and over again because it's so great.
She just hits it in a way that, and Sean understands his place in the way, like his reputation and how it actually, he even says, like, I used to be so proud of this reputation and now it's the thing that's keeping me from what I want. So it makes him kind of second guess the way he's treating people, treating women, the impression he's leaving on these girls that he goes out with once and never calls again. So I just thought that was an awesome moment.
Absolutely. All right. So for me, I'm going to follow up with City Slickers, which is episode 11 of the season, when Corey and Sean are in Mr. Feeney's apartment, or his cabin, shall I say. And just honestly, the scene of Sean reading Feeney's book and learning about him and seeing him as a whole person, and like that scene right there is really good for me. I like it more than the scene right before it, which is the one where Feeney is telling Sean everything he knows about him. But I like it only because I like that moment of Sean reading the book only because it shows how much Feeney's words got to him. And I think that is really, really just one of my favorite scenes.
Amazing scene, bro. The way it builds the relationship between Sean and Feeney specifically, not Sean as Corey's best friend, but just as another pupil of Feeney's, to build this personal relationship, like you said, where Feeney knows his favorite band, he knows where he was born and his middle name and all these things about him that he doesn't know about other kids. Sean then goes on to read his diary and realizes, wow, I have so much in common with Feeney. He called out sick so he could hook up with a girl at the mountains. That's me. That's Sean. So the fact that he's able to see parts of himself in Feeney, and they end up having this amazing moment where they rescue Feeney's watch that his wife gave to him. It's just a great episode. And yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
All right, and what's your final favorite clip of the season?
And you know what? This is a really small moment. It's a very small quote that Feeney says to Corey in episode 317, and I believe that's the one where Corey is filming he has tape of Sean's half-brother stealing some computer equipment.
Yes, 317, the Flamingo Kid.
Yes, and Corey is talking to Feeney about these problems that he's having with Sean and not understanding, what's going on between Sean and Sean's family. And Feeney just has a really simple quote where he says, Corey, you don't have to be blood to be family, which I know is such a small thing, but I feel like that is basically Corey and Sean's relationship in a nutshell, is realizing that what we have is almost beyond a friendship. It's more of a brotherhood. And so I just thought that line was a really good reflection of their dynamic this season.
Absolutely. Okay, and for my final one, it's actually going to come from the Truth and Consequences episode, and that is if we're talking about clips from this season, it is the scene where the boys do their report and Alan and Amy are there, Eli and Jonathan are there and Feeny is there, and it's just everyone in the room is so uncomfortable and so just without words for what they just saw. And Corey and Sean are so proud of their project. And for me, that episode and that scene is just another example of Boy Meets World creating really good, really relatable tension.
That is a fantastic episode, and one of the reasons why I love that episode so much, did we do the right thing? Did exposing janitor Bud's time fraud, was this something that was a good project? Like, did we discover a truth that needed to be told, or did we ruin the man's life? And like that, no one being able to give them a straight answer. Such a great episode. This whole season has really good episodes. Real fast, I just wanted to ask you a personal question. What was your turned on by Turner moment of the season,
Yes.
if you have one?
Ooh, hold on one second. That's a really good question. So just give me a moment because I'm gonna have to think about it.
If I had to guess, I thought it would be the.
I know what it is.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Spill it to me.
Go. Tell me what you think it is. and
I
then I'll
thought
tell
there
you.
was a few moments in the episode where he dates that rich girl from his past that like he was like in date mode, and you thought that was like a good look for him. But maybe I'm misremembering this.
No, I will tell you. I gotta say, the turned on by Turner moment comes from A Kiss Is More Than a Kiss, and that is, if for those who don't remember, that is when Corey and Topanga had broken up. He's in the dating world, and there is a fashion show, but Turner comes out on stage during that fashion show, and if we all remember, it was not just me who was hot for teacher. Like, he even gets money, or at least pitched money, thrown at him from people in the audience. And that was my turn on by Turner moment.
Turned on
Straight
by
back.
Turner. Ooh. All right, so now we're moving into detention. Well, we're going to talk about some of the things that we didn't like this season. Worst episode. Siege, do you have any thoughts on an episode that stands out as the worst to you?
So I will say that our worst, like the episode that you and I hated the most this season, unanimously, was Train of Fools. It was foolish for them to make that episode. That is, for those who are on the lookout, that is episode 10 of this season.
I am shocked. I am shocked to discover that episode has a lower rating than my answer, which is I Was a Teenage Spy. How did Train of Fools beat?
I Was a Teenage Spy because I gave I Was a Teenage Spy a higher grade than you did. If I didn't, it would have been lower. But you even gave it. You gave I Was a Teenage Spy a D, but you gave Train of Fools a D minus.
You know what? I have to be honest. Like, just the season being over, gun to my head, if you told me, hey, you have to watch one of those episodes again, it would be Train of Fools.
Really?
I think, yeah, 100%. If only to hear the black guy invite everyone in the train to have a party.
Yeah, see, that's what I think was terrible about it. We had some good fun, and we even had like a kind of a plot in I Was a Teenage Spy, but there is just nonsense happening in Train of Fools.
No, the problem with I Was a Teenage Spy is that the plot is irrelevant to everything because it's a dream sequence. I'm not going to get into this. That's my least favorite episode of the season, hands down. Now, do you have a least favorite that's different than either of those?
No, it would have been one of those two. I think that those two episodes are really some of the worst that we've done. The only other episode that I rated poorly of this season was episode 9, which is The Last Temptation of Corey.
Is that the one where he kisses that chick who's just like obsessed with kissing him while Topanga's sick?
Exactly. Yep, that's the episode.
Yeah, that episode was problematic. What is your fans' least favorite episode?
Fansley's favorite episode is Ray Vaughn, like I said, in terms of grading. But in terms of listening and downloads, it would be Hometown Hero. They just didn't care about it.
I don't blame him. That episode's super forgettable.
I don't know what you're talking about. Corey starts a fire inside of the school. If you remember, we get that entire construction of a chemistry lab that we never see again.
Yep.
And then we get television, we get poker, I believe. It's a lot of really crazy things.
That episode was, it's not that it's like a terrible, it was a fun to watch and it had some elements to it that were okay. I just don't think it added anything to any of the characters. I don't feel like Corey's a better person after that episode's over.
I think we both discussed that it felt like a season 2 episode.
Totally. Do you have a least favorite character of the season?
How about you start with yours and then I'll look.
Okay, so my least favorite character, and I think if I'm right, this was our favorite character last season, or one of our favorite characters. But my least favorite character this season was Jonathan Turner. I just thought they really dropped the ball on his character, and at the end of season 2, his character had so much momentum as being such this staple into Sean's life. I was so interested to see the relationship that was going to develop while they lived together and the bond they had, how Turner was going to continue to contribute to these kids' lives. And I feel like I got none of that shit, at least not in the way that I felt was satisfying. I'm so happy that Sean's moving on to Chet, just so we can get some development with him, because he moved in with Turner, maybe complained about it 1 or 2 episodes, but for the most part, it played no part in the story.
You know, I like to that, you know who I'm mentioning. I hate to bring it up, but Eli. Eli, to me, is completely useless this season.
Totally.
There are moments where he can be useful. There are episodes where you and I are discussing, why isn't Eli the one teaching this lesson? Why isn't Eli the one saying this thing to Turner or being this confidant to the boys? Like, there are just moments where Eli could have been used and they never use him. So I'm going to have to say Eli, not because I want to, but because as far as this season's concerned, he is literally an ornament.
I was so close to saying Eli, and I think the reason Turner won out for me was because Turner should have been good. I never had any expectations for Eli, but I wanted something more from Sean and Turner, and I just did not get that.
And I guess for me, it's the opposite, because I had expectations for Eli coming in. Like, I was excited for him to be added and for Jonathan to get a friend, and it just never went anywhere.
Do you have anything about any like major complaints about the season before we move away from detention? Just anything that you were just like, you know what, I didn't like this. Not so much a bruh moment, but more of just like, this episode was useless. I didn't care for this character. I don't understand what the point of this was.
Well, outside of the Eli complaint, I will also say that I mentioned a few times this season that I don't like what they do with Eric's character arc. Like, I love what they do with Eric, but there are plenty of times where we go back and forth with Eric, and it's just really inconsistent. I would have liked to see more of him consistently trying in school, and I would have liked more of an arc. But also, during the time, I was told that he wouldn't graduate, and for him to graduate at the end also kind of disrupted my expectations. So I would have liked to see Eric actually not graduate. I think that would have been great. And then I also would have liked just to see either him commit more to his studies and us see that arc, or him to just have some kind of arc, I guess I could say. Like, he has one, but it's just not consistent. And that's very much like this argument.
I have to say that I felt like the first half of the season was weeding out a lot of characters that just were big nothings, as far as just like losing some of these side characters, that whole Griff and Harley coming back and having their showdown, like shit like that I just felt like was more of a season 2 storyline that somehow lagged over into season 3. So yeah, those were just kind of a few of the things that I had issues with this season, but overall an improvement nonetheless.
Yeah, overall, I mean, like, we're really pulling at straws here compared to the previous seasons, but I think we're seeing what Boy Meets World could be. So anytime it doesn't live up to that, it turns into a complaint.
Well, one of the things that we do here for our, final report card of the seasons is we have a graduation ceremony. This graduation ceremony is to say goodbye to characters that are leaving us and will not
I
return to the
know.
show. I have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Can you name?
Go for it.
I want you to see if you can name the people on this list.
All right. So Trini.
Trini, actually, I'm so sorry, not on my list, but yeah, you're right. Trini does not return.
Which is so upsetting because I love Brittany Murphy and I would have really enjoyed to get more of her and for Topanga to have a little bit more. But all right, so Trini.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
One thing I just want to say about Trini real fast is that there was so much opportunity to give Topanga a Sean, and they totally dropped the ball. And I
Absolutely.
I think that what's Sean's girlfriend? Angela. Angela later becomes that, it turns into that role. But what makes that mean less is she is simply becoming friends with the girl that Sean is dating, not a friend that she had for herself. And so that's why I feel like Trini was really, could have been something special. So, yeah, I'm sorry, 6 people graduating. So Trini is 1. Do you have...
All right. So I think technically I can say 4, which would be Griff.
Griff, yes. He had his final episode of the season.
Joey.
Joey the Rat Epstein is no longer part of the show.
Harley.
Harley took his final bow.
Did Frankie?
Frankie will be returning next season.
Ooh, see, I was like, I think we get a little bit more Frankie, but
there's 2 others that we will not be seeing.
Eli?
Eli does not make any more appearances in Boy Meets World.
Wow, we really
have
seen
seen
this. What I'm saying.
Everything he had to offer to the show, and it was very little.
I'm really like, as much as I was like, he is my worst character, I also feel like they did him dirty. Like, he is my worst character because they didn't give him the scenes and the storylines that he deserved, not because the actor didn't bring it each and every time.
It was, hey, let's throw a black guy in there just to appease this audience. It really is just like, we're not going to do anything.
We're multiracial.
Yeah, we're not going to do anything with this character. We're just going to have him a part of the show just so in pictures you can see that there's something other than the white face. It's a token at best. So yeah, Eli has taken his final bow. And there's one more person who we say goodbye to.
Ooh,
I'll give you a hint. We watched him get fired.
Oh, Janitor Bud!
Janitor Bud makes his final appearance in season 3. I mean, we say goodbye to a lot of people this season. They're cleaning up shop. They're trimming fat. Trini, Janitor Bud, Eli, Griff, Harley, Joey, all gone.
You know what's funny about that is that in Girl Meets World, Harley comes back as a janitor. So it's interesting to me that Harley and Janitor Bud both had their peak and their final episodes in season 3.
That is just it's a beautiful reflection. Does he return in season 3 of Girl Meets World, I wonder?
I actually have to see that, but that would be interesting if it was season 3.
Yeah, so any final thoughts on these graduating class of season 3?
Well, Griff shouldn't have been there. Harley, we love you, but your time has gone. Janitor Bud, you are happily retired, hopefully. Trini, you could have done more. And Eli, they did you dirty. And then Joey, my good Joey, I will miss you the most.
Joey's the one I miss the most as well. And he's the one that I feel like probably could have gone on to the next season in a way that would have worked. But you know what? Boy Meets World, whenever they trim the fat, it always leads to a better show. So I can't.
I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like I love Joey and I would have loved to see more of him. However, he is kind of a caricature of a real person, whereas they really humanized Frankie, so it makes sense that
But that was
he.
a choice. It was a choice to humanize one character and not the other. And I'm interested why. Maybe it was just Ethan Suplee, like the actor. Maybe they just recognized that they had like a great talent. I don't know.
I mean, he goes on to do amazing things and have a really long history or career
Yeah.
as a character actor. So, I'm here for it.
Yeah. 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 So that brings us to the Bruh Award. See,
Yes.
most culturally relevant moment that stopped you in your tracks and thought, wow, we could only get away with this in the 90s. Moment that just was like, just did not sit right with you. Do you have one from this whole season that you're just like, wow, that really stands up to me?
Hold on.
I mean, I guess you don't have to have a bruh moment if nothing really stood out.
Well,
to you.
no. I did. I'm trying to figure out what episode it was in. Damn, I can't find it, and now I lost it. If you have one, go ahead and go.
Yes. Okay. So my bruh moment is from episode 18, Life Lessons. Life Lessons, like I said, was one of my favorite episodes because you got to see this great, like, Feeny moment with the kids and the A storyline, but the B storyline.
Yes, that is. I was like, where was the episode where there was inappropriate dating? And I got it.
This episode.
There's another one that I have. Keep going.
A very odd relationship between Amy's friend Brenda, who is 30 something, and Eric, who is in high school. She actually comes into the house, sees a family photo of him as a young boy, maybe 15, looks at him and goes, yeah, we can go on a date. And that just sets off one of the strangest, like, oh, we're not going to talk about how inappropriate this is at all. And there's a few times this season that I was like, hey, let's really think about this, like, if the roles were switched. If this were Turner and Topanga, like, wouldn't this be awkward? Why isn't that making you as uncomfortable?
Yes.
And it just really stood out to me as a major flaw that we're seeing, which is that when boys do something to get the attention of older women, even when Alan finds out that Eric is with an older woman, he's like, yeah, that a boy. Whereas he would freak out if Morgan dated some older dude. So I just think examining that, it kind of brings to light some of the other issues that this show has with gender and the way they treat women. So it's really just that was just a very gross storyline that stood out.
That is a very gross storyline. And I remember Train of Fools, we have all the women who are just coming to see Turner because apparently he's so hot, he just can't beat them away with a stick. And then remember, they're just kind of all treated like ornaments. If you remember that storyline where it's like, it's just girl after girl and they're all needy. And they even kind of throw Eli as like the safe option. And I would just remember us being like, it's like Eli is dismissed as a sexual being. The women are treated terribly. The only hero, quote unquote, of the episode is Turner, and he treats those women like crap.
Totally.
So I remember just not being allowed into that. And then my last little bit is the climbing into Topanga's window does not age well. Like, I don't think we do that anymore.
I don't
you know what I'm
mind
saying?
it. I felt like that was a real 90s thing. Like, Dawson did it, Clarissa did it. I'm fine with it.
But this is what I'm saying. We were talking about things that don't hold up. And I don't think you show a teenage boy sneaking into a girl's room in the middle of the night anymore. I just don't think you do it.
If you put kids in an environment where they don't have cell phones and there's only one home line that the parents are going to answer first, there is more sneaking into windows than you think.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, I was watching, and it's something that I'll mention a little bit later, but I was watching a show, and he just, like, nowadays, you just come through the front door. Like, you're still sneaking around, you're still doing all these things, but you just don't climb into another person's window. You know, that's how you get shot. All I'm saying.
I can't dispute that.
Okay.
So, final grade of the season. Siege, what was our final grade once you got the average for all of our grades?
Our final grade of the season is...
Now let me just say, I'm so sorry. I just want to remind our audience what we gave season 2, which was a 78C plus, was what we gave season 2
Correct.
for our final grade. So I'm sorry. Without further interruption, our grade for season 3 of Boy Meets World,
83.1.
83.1.
That is a B. It's not quite. Sorry, it's in between a B and a B minus. It's not quite a B because it's for us our grading scale would a B would be 85, but it is higher than a B minus. So we're in that range.
You know
Overall,
what we
good
should do?
episode.
We should give each season a character from the show based on the grade that we think they would get as their average in high school. Like I feel like this is a Corey season, like a steady B
is a
plus
Corey
average,
season.
yeah. Whereas last
Yeah.
season was a little Sean. Like maybe we need to work on their test scores a little bit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and I don't know. I think last season
Eric,
was
like, you
Eric.
definitely need to get your grades
season,
together.
yeah.
And season 1
Yeah,
was more
exactly.
Sean. Yeah. Well, you know what?
Exactly,
That sets
exactly
us
where
up
I'm
for
going.
fucking Topanga next season with an A season. I'm almost
Yes.
certain of it. Bruh.
Okay. Before we go, is there anything else you want to say about this season? Our time here. Anything else?
No, I just want to thank everyone for listening and following along. I know we had to take a little bit of a break when we did the switch from Hulu to Disney Plus with the show streaming. But yeah, just encourage you guys to watch along. I'm telling you, season 4 is going to have so many memorable episodes. Season 3 honestly had some great ones too, but I encourage you guys to stick with us because we're going to get into some really fun episodes. Next season, Sean dates a girl who is getting beaten up by her dad. Next season,
Wow.
Corey tries to be in 2 places at once, one of them being Topanga's birthday party, the other being a wrestling match for Frankie. Next season, we have Corey's family and Sean's family having Thanksgiving together, class differences, all kinds of shenanigans happening. Next season, guys, there's a girl who writes a song about Eric and calls him gay. There's
What? Whoa!
there's all kinds of crazy stuff next season, and I'm just so happy to talk to you guys about all of it. So that's all I have to say. I'm excited for next season.
All right, you have me excited for next season, and you better live up to all of these things because I've been lied to before, sir.
No, I mean, once you see, let's put it this way: the season starts. Obviously, they come back and they're from the road trip. But the episode after that is the one where Topanga cuts her hair, which is such a fucking amazing, like iconic episode that I just can't. I'm so excited, guys. Come back next season, join us. We're probably gonna take a little bit of a break between seasons, but I encourage you guys to check back in with us when season 4 drops.
Yes, you guys, we are going to take a little bit of a break, but hopefully that'll let us really give time and put in a little bit more quality into season 4. And we appreciate you guys for listening to us. And we love you because you also love Boy Meets World.
Absolutely. Is there anything else we should remind our listeners, Siege?
Yeah, as always, thank you guys for listening to us. You can find us on all the platforms, share with your friends. As we said earlier, with Disney Plus out, if you're rewatching anything, make sure you give us a listen. And also leave us a rating. You guys have been doing really great with that. We always appreciate it. Even if you don't like us, comment and let us know what we can do better. That's always helpful. And yeah, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, all the places at Bruh Meets World, or email us at bruhmeetsworld@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at Extra Siege. That's XTRACEEJ. TC.
You can find me on Instagram at @abraverme, at topbraver.me. And yeah, guys, we appreciate you guys listening and following along with us. We've been doing this for a really long time. We're excited to finish up the series with you guys. And in the meantime, if you guys haven't gotten a chance to check out our second podcast, Movie Makeover, we have about 30 episodes there that you guys can listen along to before we pop back with season 4.
All right. You guys, remember to drink
try
and do good.
and do good. Guys, we graduate. We're done with season 3. I don't know what to say. Happy graduation day?
Happy graduation day.
I don't know.
You guys enjoy.
Later, bruh.
Later, bros.
Bros?